Everyone knows that The Legend of Zelda is a special game full of dungeons, puzzles, mystery, adventure, and so much more. But when we're really talking about the next Legend of Zelda game, what exactly could be next? Because recently I decided to jump back into The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, and let me tell ya, that game is absolutely amazing. And it makes you wonder, is Nintendo going to take elements from all the older Legend of Zelda games, mixing it into a world like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, or are they going to keep the Legend of Zelda formula the exact same? So what's going on, everyone? How's your day going? Let's get straight into the video. Okay, when I talk about The Legend of Zelda, I am always excited to know what's next. I'm really excited for the theories and things that we could come up with, but keeping it mainstream and realistic, the Legend of Zelda series, or more notably the next Legend of Zelda game, is probably going to be something equivalent to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's success, and adding in some elements of other Legend of Zelda games. Now, if we say that the leak that we are going to be getting, Ocarina of Time remake, is all going to be true, we're going to be getting this game, well then they would most likely add some elements of that game as well. Kind of to tie all of the confusion between the Legend of Zelda. Each Legend of Zelda game is different in its own way. You might like the first game and dislike the other games. You might like Wind Waker and dislike Majora's Mask or something. Because every single Legend of Zelda experience is different in so many ways. But if Nintendo was going to do, well, their Nintendo things, they're most likely going to take the most successful games and mix in some newer, realistic sort of gimmicks that would be really interesting. Now, you might not like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. That's completely okay. But what we gotta admit, the open world factor of that game was really fantastic. I will admit, I will say that the dungeons actually weren't the greatest. Compared to something like Wind Waker's dungeons, those things are amazing. Being able to sail the open seas, find dungeon quest things that you do, and all of a sudden, boom, a dungeon just flies out of nowhere and you do the whole dungeon, that's something's really special. Breath of the Wild didn't have that. So I believe the next Legend of Zelda game will have something similar to this. So all of a sudden you end up with actual dungeon adventure puzzles and things, boom. Because technically, the reason why Nintendo made the dungeon so accessible is because you had to be able to climb everywhere, essentially across the dungeon. You were able to climb on pretty much anything, and it had to be big enough for like the open world to make it like easier to fit in. But technically what you could do is just give it a dungeon and then make it so it strips all of your powers away, and then you have to solve this unique puzzle. You could probably see the return of the unique weapons for these dungeons. One of the reasons that made a dungeon so special is because you would get items, some special key unique items to progress the game. May that be the boomerang, may that be the bow and arrow, some bombs, maybe a new tunic, a shield, or whatever the case may be. That's something that they could do and implement into the next game. The next game could easily be something like this. An open world game where when you do a dungeon or something, you get an actually unique weapon that does not break. So there's going to be two classes of weapons. One of them, they could easily just be okay, just standard weapons like we saw in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where they break constantly. You had your hero sword, you had like all of these swords and things and bokoblin spears and whatever. Those things would break. But then when you go and do the dungeon, like the actual dungeon and temple, you'll be stripped away from everything. Or maybe you could bring some weapons, or you pick up some dungeons weapons. Because, not gonna lie, I enjoyed the Tears of the Kingdom sort of levels or shrines that it got rid of absolutely anything. You only had the things that the dungeon gives you. So whatever they do it, maybe they do it like this. They get rid of everything. They get rid of all your powers from the game. So you're essentially stuck in this dungeon confined area. And then you pretty much solve. You use your noggin to solve everything possible. I think this is the best way that they can do the dungeon in the next Legend of Zelda game, because honestly, it is just really cool. Dungeons are what makes the Legend of Zelda games truly special. So I feel like this would be the perfect Legend of Zelda game. Well, first off, you would have just your standard Zelda experience, or Breath of the Wild if you want to. At this point, this would technically be standard. You get Breath of the Wild experience where you have your open world, you have all of these things that you can go and explore. But then when it comes to dungeons, you do the dungeons sort of like your mainline typical Legend of Zelda game, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, whatever. The dungeons are like that. You have different floors that you go to, you solve puzzles within your certain area. Honestly, I think that that would work the best, because then it can reconnect those players that, just like Ocarina of Time, so glued on the fact that, okay, we need this dungeon, we need this, and then you could be more open to an open world. Because honestly, I feel like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, I'm gonna say it again, but these are the games that really made the open world Nintendo style of games really good. To this point, there's not really another open world sort of Nintendo game that really feels great. Like, Breath of the Wild feels like a living, breathing world that was honestly awesome. Tears of the Kingdom improved on that fact. So yeah, being the first open world, I would say Wind Waker would be the first open world. That one felt like a barren wasteland, pretty much just ocean, but hey, maybe it's more realistic, because ocean, there's long stretches that there's nothing there. So I guess that's pretty realistic in my opinion. But overall, I definitely think that this is something that I would love to see personally, because Wind Waker really did a lot of these things right. Like, it really did. Wind Waker was the open world experience. It was the first pretty much open world experience, and it did it really well. So if we took the idea from Wind Waker and then we mixed it in with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you would have a perfect experience. So technically, if you want to, you can have the entire Hyrule would be flooded once again, and then during the game, in the middle of the game, you do something to unflood Hyrule, and then you have the skies, then you have like different parts of the area. Instead of the depths, it maybe be like a cave mine full of crystal shards or legendary blades or weapons or whatever the case may be, and then you would get those from different dungeons and stuff like that. Maybe the entire sort of Hyrulean treasure was stolen by Ganon, and then it's your job to go and collect the unique weapons. But then you collect them, you try to bring them back, he's like, nope, you're the true hero, you're the hero of courage, you gotta save the rest, and then you get to keep those anyways. Or you have to save Castle Town, you have to save everything. Maybe that's how it's going to be. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, it would just be a cool balance. But yeah, I definitely think that this is a very interesting idea for the next Legend of Zelda experience. Because if you think about it, Nintendo's always want to improve over the game that is really successful. Like a successful game, they usually want to improve, add more gimmicks, add more things. If it's something like Wind Waker, I would take that as a bonus, because that game's really good. And if they release Ocarina of Time Remake, they're probably going to take ideas and concepts from that and throw it into that. So that it merges sort of all the player base into one game. It merges them all. One game, every single timeline, every single unique idea. You would have a perfect Legend of Zelda game to really throw off the balance within the entire world. But yeah, definitely think that this would be great. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this would be great to see something Wind Waker-y, something to be like Ocarina of Time-y, something to be Breath of the Wild, because those games sold so well? Honestly think that if something's going to be happening, it's going to be something similar to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. From the leaks and rumors that we've been getting, it seems like it's going to be like a split dimension game. Now, I don't know about this, because on one hand, that'd be cool. I feel like on the other hand, you need a lot of processing power to really make this work. But technically, it could work in some ways. You know, you can go to one reality, back to Wind Waker, and Ocarina of Time. Then you go like over here, a link between worlds, woo, and then boom, you get stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely really cool. And just in case you were wondering about the 2D Legend of Zelda games, because just like 2D Mario and 3D Mario, there's essentially a difference between both of those games. I would probably say that the 2D Legend of Zelda game, they're probably not going to be making a mainline, but instead of a remaster or remake, most likely a remaster or the just port is probably going to be a Link Between Worlds. And there was a rumor or a leaked code that was like Zora or Zorark or something. I don't know, not Pokemon, but like it said something, and it was sort of linked to Link's Awakening, no, Echoes of Wisdom. So potentially a brand new Echoes of Wisdom is going to be coming, this time Link with Link. I don't know if Nintendo is necessarily going to bring the Zelda formula back to 2D, but it very well could be possible. So if it does, that could happen 2030, maybe. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this? You know, in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Consider to hit that like button. Maybe subscribing, please. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate it. If you like any Pokemon content or just straight up news, consider to hit the subscribe button on these other channels as well. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. You helped me out a ton. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Yeah.